We are the Underground HeRose Podcast. I am your host, Sammy Villanueva. I am with my brother and my co-host, Brandon Holder. We are the founders of HeRose, the men's mastermind. Brandon, why don't you let the audience know why we started the Underground HeRose Podcast?
Absolutely. You know, guys, in a society where men are left alone, leading to destruction and praised for being self-made men, the Underground HeRose Podcast recognizes that alone we are simply human, but by listening and interacting together, we can be heroes. Underground HeRose is a one-of-a-kind podcast, telling the stories of men who are fighting in the trenches of life in the midst of discovering their full potential. This podcast stands alone, and it is unlike so many other podcasts that only focus on those who have arrived. With each show, we aim to inspire, connect, and give hope by highlighting in real time those in pursuit.
I don't need recognition. I'm on a mission.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the first episode, interlude, introduction, whatever you call these first beginning episodes before the actual episodes.
The episode before the episode.
Episode before the episode. Wait, we're new to this. We're new to the podcast game, and that's really the magic behind it, right, Brandon?
Amen. Yeah.
Heck yeah, man. We bought this stuff, we put it together, and we're excited to get this thing going and really following where the mission is taking us. So welcome. We're glad you're with us. My name is Sammy Villanueva. I am one of the founders of HeRose and the co-host of the Underground HeRose Podcast. Brandon, you want to intro yourself, man?
This is the Underground HeRose Podcast, the beginning episode. What's up, guys? Man, it's been an honor. It's been a journey, an adventure, an exciting one at that. And you know, we're just excited to share the story and why we're doing what we're doing with this Underground HeRose Podcast. So, yeah,
it's we're back where it all started, where our friendship first started, you know, and honestly, before we get into that and the backstory of where we all came from and what we're about, we want to get in within the first couple of minutes why you ought to be listening to this podcast, right? And I think a big important piece, and Brandon, you can chime in for sure, is making sure that we are telling our story. We have a special story to tell, and people ought to be brave enough and bold enough to tell their story, not for your story to be told, but because someone needs your story. We had a mentor that we followed, Orrin Woodward, back in the day, who said, "You're someone's only chance. You're someone's only hope. Your story is someone's only chance or hope," meaning that they need to hear it so that they can be inspired, so that they can feel that they're not the only ones out there, and so that they can move in action as well. So we are creating this podcast for you so that your story can be told and so that you can hear other people's stories who are similar to you.
Yeah, exactly that. It's called Underground HeRose because we're telling the stories of real men who are out there while they're in the middle of their story.
Yep.
They're in action. They might not have achieved a high level of success, but they're on that adventure and that journey, and we're capturing their story in the middle of it because we want not only to tell their story because they're a unique individual and a special, one-of-a-kind person, but also, as Sammy had said, it's going to relate to someone else out there in the world who is in the trenches at this moment, has a hope and a vision for a brighter, better future for themselves, their families, who's starting a business, who's starting their investing journey, who's becoming a new father, who's a freshly married husband.
Yep.
And those are the stories that we're extracting out of these men that we're telling as we interview each and every one of these men on this podcast. So,
yeah, it's interesting because Back in the day, people would listen to CDs and tapes, and then it started transitioning to MP3s, and now we're listening to podcasts. That's where people are getting information. That's where people are getting inspiration when it comes to the audio piece of it. And I think it's important that you all take a listen to the episodes. We got some amazing stories that we've already recorded, and really I think this is a call to just hopefully get you to come onto the show and tell your story. The scene out there, and I think we'll go into that, Brandon, is the podcasting. We looked at it, and we listen to podcasts all the time. He was just driving in, he was listening to one, I was listening to a podcast, and we talk about them all the time. They got some great pieces. But when it comes to the personal development, the entrepreneur, the betterment podcast, whatever you want to call it, we looked at that scene and we looked at the podcast, and there was a gap. There was something missing, and the gap was there's about 7 guys that have podcasts that are all really successful. And what we've noticed is, what they do is, and it's all great. They have a new book that came out. They just made a new $1 million. They, a new business that they just bought. They just bought their 13th and a half house. And they go on each other's podcasts and they talk about it. And again, I'm just being a little funny with that. We love those guys. We respect them and we learn from them. But what we thought what was missing was, what were you like when you were in the movement, when you were in the trenches to get your first house, your first business, your first book? What was it like when you were balancing full-time work, a family, a side job, your entrepreneurship? What did that look like? We want to get the steam of battle off of those men that are out there making it happen. And so that's what this podcast is for.
That's a key thing you said, is the steam of battle, because in hindsight, anyone can formulate and tell their story and make it sound all just like epic and good, but it's like, what was your thinking and mindset in that moment, in the moment, in that time frame? And that's what we're capturing with these just amazing gentlemen and men that we're being able to rub shoulders with and get to know. And ultimately, it's an extension to our heroes community, because we want to get to know all these men on personal levels, and that's why we want you to come and tell your story and be a part of the heroes community as well, because your story counts, it matters, and that's exactly why we're doing this podcast.
Yeah, it's not a podcast of a been there, done that. It's a I'm here doing it right now podcast. We're gonna be in the mix, almost like I imagine the wartime documenters, the wartime photographers that are out there documenting these men fighting for freedom and fighting on a mission, and they're snapping pictures and they're interviewing and they're documenting. That's what we're doing. We're going out there and we're finding men who are on a mission, who are on a purpose, who know, like Brandon and I know, that we're not perfect, but we're striving and we're fighting every day for something better, something more, for significance and success. And what we're doing is we're snapping a picture, we're recording a podcast, we're snapping the video, and we're sharing it with the world to really say, we can do this together, right? We're not alone. We're not alone out there. And that's what I think you were mentioning about an extension of the community, right?
Yeah.
So I'm excited, man. I think, again, to circle back to where we are, I don't even know if this is legal. I mean, I'm technically a student here still, but we're at the University of Laverne, or ULV. Hopefully they don't mind us being here. But no, I'm a student. And this is where Brandon and I met. We're in the library, and we're set up with our podcast gear. And we're recording the beginning, the introduction podcast to an Underground HeRose podcast into this amazing journey. So, Brandon, you want to start us off with a little bit of the history of where we started and how we met and all that?
Sammy and I are Underground HeRose in the making. Back in 2005, we started at the University of Laverne.
Dang, 2005?
That was in 2005.
Jeez.
We pledged in a fraternity here at the University of Laverne. And from that point on, we became brothers. Our bond and connection was so tight, so strong. Very rarely do you get that with that connection and that interaction and that bond with individuals in your lifetime. And Sammy's, I can say, is one of those. And so it started here, and we always just fed off of each other. We always like to say that phrase, iron sharpens iron. And every time Sammy and I got together, even though we were young in college, immature, maybe we went through partying, we did through,
what? Immature? Scene. No way.
We were all in our journeys, and there was just something that love and connection that we definitely shared with each other, to want to push each other, challenge each other, but also encourage and support each other through love and encouragement, and just motivating, and just through speaking truth to each other. Essentially is ultimately what we were, what really fed us, I think, in our relationship. And that started right here at the University of Laverne. And it's been a journey since. Here it's 2019.
Whew, almost 20 years, bro. No, 15.
Yeah,
2020 and then minus 2000. Anyway, I'm not good. I'm not good at math. Come on, Laverne, you didn't teach me well, man. Don't you still have a math class you need to take? Anyway, no, it was great, man. I remember the first day. Yes, we did pledge a fraternity, and it's. I don't think it's accidental. It's providential, and it's on purpose. I'm blessed to have had someone to come into my life, and we were able to connect on such a deep level, such real levels, so fast, without a structure, without a community, without a way to do it, right? So that's what we are actually creating here at HeRose with this group. We are wanting to capture what Brandon and I experience and what we've experienced over the years and extend it out to the men. There's a big ailment out there in manhood, and the ailment is we do life alone. And that bleeds over into other areas of life, right? That impacts them as businessmen, as employees, as fathers, as husbands, and it just trickles down from there. So I'm blessed to have him as a brother, and I'm blessed that we were able to connect at the fraternity level. And what we're doing now is really one of the main reasons why I think we were brought together. I think we were brought together because we were meant to do something special together. And, we have an energy when we have a vibe. Hopefully you can see it and view it. I mean, there's just, come on, man. This is a 1-2 right here, 1-2. So, it's great to really be bringing this to fruition and making this happen. And I'm just, I'm grateful for you, brother. And I'm grateful for this journey. And I'm grateful for everyone listening. Hopefully we have more than 3.5 people listening. I think I'm going to tell my mom. You better tell your mom.
That's right.
I got to tell my wife.
Your mom's always supportive.
Download. So hopefully we get more than like 2 or 3 people listening. But no, all jokes aside, we're very honored, and we don't take this lightly. It's definitely a duty of ours, and we're going to give you the best that we can. And not only stop there, we're going to continue to improve the best that we give you. So, what we want to do now is we want to kind of talk about what you're going to be getting in the episodes, right? And what you can expect, and really what we expect from you. Brandon, you want to drop some truth on them right there?
Yeah, so we mentioned we're highlighting the stories of these individual men who've actually kind of been around the HeRose community, who've been connections to us in business and in life, just friends, neighbors, family. And we're extending that out to all men, essentially. And we want to scale this concept, this idea of this community, this connection, and the depth of a relationship that's formed to all men, because we have this phrase, alone I am human, but together we are heroes.
Yeah.
And there's that old Jim Rohn, like I hear it on many podcast episodes, like you're the average of the 5 people you hang around most. And, we want to elevate all men to be their best, to grow and develop to their best version in whatever calling, whatever purpose, whatever mission that they're called to do and to be, and align with that. And the HeRose community is that kind of support and background for those men. And we're your biggest fans. We're your biggest motivators. We're around, like Sammy and I always talk about, we're here for life on that.
Yep.
As long as we're still breathing and living, and hopefully even beyond that with the community and just the atmosphere that is the culture that's created with the HeRose.
Yeah, for sure.
It extends beyond us and leaves a legacy in many men's lives and families, ultimately. It's going to trickle down from the head of the household, the man, that support structure, that foundational structure of all family, all community, business. And if we can get more men to rise up, HeRose, to become the hero who they're called to be, then there's no telling what direction, what light can be brought forth into this world, and the impact it can make.
Ooh, it can give me some goosebumps, brother. That's right, man. I think it's a beautiful thing that we're doing with challenging men and encouraging men to give their best in all areas. And what I think what we want to do, if you haven't looked at us or checked us out, the HeRose community, one of the foundational qualities or principles that we live by is unconditional love. And so right now, because we haven't said it yet, you don't have to come to this community. There's no prereq. There's no, you need a certain net worth. You need to own a certain business. You need to be a husband. You need to be a father. You have to be a man. There actually, I lied. There's a prereq. So the prereq is this. You have to know that as you are, you're okay, you're fine, and you're just who you need to be. But then, you know, what's interesting is the men that are drawn to this group are the men that don't want to stay there, right? That want more,
100%.
right? And that just have a little bit of fight in them. Just a little bit of fight, right? Is status quo okay for you? Then this group may not be for you. We say it quite often. This group's for who it's for. And I'll be the first one, and Brandon will be the first one to say we are not perfect. Every single day we fall. Every single day we fail. Every single day we drop the ball. But one thing I know is high in this man is fight. Fight for good and fight for improvement, fight for service and fight for love to every single person that's out there. And that's the same thing with me. I know that I will never throw in the towel. And I will never stop attempting to change or improve and be better for others. And really, that's what we ask for. I guess that is the prereq. And it's interesting. I said prereq. We're at a college, you know, them and prereqs, right? So, HeRose 101. Your prerequisite is hunger, right? and the fight trait, right? Just having some fight in you. You're over with the status quo. You know, we have a tagline in HeRose that says tired of almost. You know, when I founded this group, and you know, when we looked at it, I had too many times in my life where I almost came through at excellence. I almost achieved great things. You know, I played football here, and you probably won't see anything of that here because I held back. I hesitated. I could have been one of the best players on the field. I could have gone further. I could have done really well here at school. You know, there's so many areas in my life where I could have truly captured significance and success, but what I was settling with was almost. I almost did well. And so this group is built to give you that edge and to push you past that almost and to help you finish well. So let's move on how you can interact and keep on going. So we hope that you keep on listening to the rest of the episodes. We're going to be releasing 2 more or 3 more with this intro episode. So fly through those episodes, listen to those, and here are a couple things that we would really appreciate if you did, right? So we talk about in the community connection, community, relationships. Those things are very important to us, right? And that's what this is about. And so for us, we are going to do our best to provide that for you, but it can't be one-sided. What I would encourage you to do, and we would really appreciate, is if you connected with us, reach out to us, give us some feedback, drop us a review on whatever platform you're listening to us. Let us know what you're thinking about the episodes, and a challenge. Reach out to us. Come on to the episodes. Come on to the show. We would love to highlight your story and share that with the world. And in addition to that, share it with someone, with loved ones, with other men, with maybe your woman listen to this, and you know, share it with your friend, share it with your husband, share it with his friends. This is a mission to connect men, to create community amongst men, and to encourage men to finish well in all areas.
Amen, man. Yeah, if you feel like, you know what, some people might think like, oh, my story's I haven't accomplished or achieved what I wanted to achieve yet. Haven't arrived yet. I'm not there yet. No, this episode is to most of the guys that we've interviewed, and you're going to get to hear their stories, and I encourage you to dive into them, get to know them, listen to them at 1.5, 2 speed so you can get through them.
Yeah, that's right.
Just kidding. You'll learn faster that way.
That's right.
But yeah, these essentially your story is worthy. Essentially, your story is worth being told.
Yes.
You should have no doubt in your mind why you would want to not have your story told. And that's what we're here to do with Underground HeRose Podcast.
Heck yeah. You know, it reminds me of the quote by Teddy Roosevelt. And really it's not a quote, it's like a speech, right? The man in the arena. For those of you who have not heard that, I'll go ahead and read that right now. It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there's no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. We are interviewing and we are highlighting the men that are like those men, the men that are out there right now, that have sweat, that have blood on them, that are tired, that are in it, that are not at the end of battle, that didn't fight their battle 20, 30 years ago, the men that are doing it right now. And, you know, it might be an interesting podcast if we interviewed the, what do they call it, the cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. But we're not going to do that podcast, right? We want to know we want to know the stories about the guys that are actually in the arena, that are lifting the sword. So right before he lifts the sword to fight the lion, we're going to wait, hold on, come on to this podcast real quick, interview with us, tell us what it's like, how did you get here, and okay, go ahead, handle that lion, take him down, right? So yeah, man.
Let me just say, if you're one of those who is afraid to step out and have the courage to lift the sword even, or to step in the battle, come hang around the men of heroes.
That's right.
And I guarantee your sword's going to get sharpened, and you're going to be picking that thing up and running out to battle.
That's a good point.
As you link arms with these guys, because the encouragement, the motivation, the love, the support that you're going to get through just hearing these Underground HeRose stories through the podcast, through connecting with us via all of our avenues of connection, through live events, through retreats, through Zoom calls, and even more coming up into this next year. You're going to be running to battle, and if you lack that vision and purpose. So I can't encourage you enough to get around us if you're on the fence or thinking about it.
Yeah, that's a great point, Brandon. I think it's important that you bring that up, that really every single man is in the arena, right?
Yeah.
It's a matter of how you frame it and what your perspective is, and more importantly, if you're going to be bold enough to actually tell your story and get up and to continue to move, because we all have our own arenas and our own battles. You know this. You guys know this. You have work, you have marriage, you have children, you have finances, you have, you know, and anything that you deal with in a regular basis, that's your arena, that's your battle. And what we're encouraging you to do is to not do it alone, right? This community is here for you, and we're here for you, and we want to hear your story, and we hope that you want to hear everyone else's story. So we're pumped, we're excited. Get going. Hopefully you fast forward through this one at 2 times the speed so you can get on to the rest of the episodes. We got some really amazing stories. You're going to learn things about, you know, how to be a good husband, a good father, a good entrepreneur, finances, reading, knowledge, just so many different, you know, how to deal with failure and temptation, just so many. I'm thinking through all the episodes that we've already recorded. There's so much, right? How to make intentional dates with your children and your spouse, and friendship, and there's just so much wisdom and so many nuggets in these podcasts and in these stories that I'm probably going to go listen to them right now with you. So,
and the beautiful thing is that it's just like, it's not like any other podcast where you're just going to get some bullet points, you're going to get some good facts, information. Those are all great because we need those. Sometimes we need to have information to make educated decisions. But with this, there's emotion, there's heart, there's soul, there's just the beauty of the battle of a story in a individual's life that's being captured and told, and it's captivating. It's just listening as we're editing some of these episodes, just listening through them. You're just like, it's captivating. It really is exciting to get to know someone else and to hear that story.
Yep.
And I can't say it enough. It's just education through storytelling.
That's right.
Is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Inspiration through storytelling. Motivation through storytelling, and if it doesn't move you to action, I don't know what will.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, it's stories that are relatable.
Yeah, relatable.
Not relatable, relatable, right? These are real people, real men that are out there making it happen. Man, we're pumped, as you can tell. We could probably talk about this all day. We hope that this is a good introduction to the Underground HeRose podcast, and an introduction to the community, to us, and really introduction to the newer version of you, to the person that you're going to be after you go through this journey with us. And we're here for you. We love you. You love yourself just the way you are. You're perfectly fine. But let's go have some fun. Let's go shoot for significance and success in all areas of life. Brandon, any last words, man?
Listen and subscribe to the Underground HeRose Podcast. Yes. Leave us some reviews. Connect with us via our mediums through social media, Instagram, all the other. Email us directly. We'll even connect with you via personal phone calls if we have to. Connect in person if you're local here in Southern California where we're located. Any way you can connect with us, we would love to meet you, hear your story, find out about your journey and your adventure that you're on and where you're headed, and see how we can just elevate you to succeed and hit those, succeed and accomplish that vision that you have and that goal.
That's right. That's perfect. Let's do this. This is the beginning. What is it? It's about to be 2020. This is December 2019, and we're just getting started. So we hope that you come with us on this journey, and we're gonna give you everything that we can, and we're gonna give you the best value that we can. Love you guys, and we will catch you on the first episode. Woo! All right, so go ahead and check out the next episode. Leave us some reviews, like Brandon said. Connect with us on social media. We love you guys, and remember, alone, I'm human,
but together,
we are heroes.
I don't need recognition. I'm on a mission.